It's a new day. I'm still sleep deprived, and the book community still does not want to choose peace. Now, judging by the title of this video, I know what you guys are here for. You guys want to hear what exactly is the Bookish Fire Festival, because to my knowledge, Fire Festival happened years ago, and it was to be a music festival, and it ended up being just chaos, if we're being honest. So what is the Bookish Fire Festival? Well, that's the newest trending topic online, and I went online and I was just like, there's no way. There's no way. Last year we had A Million Lives, where people were really hoping for the best fantasy ball, and they came and they didn't get that. And now we're getting this. But let's reel it all in, okay? As you guys can see, I'm not as hyper, but I think my insomnia is switching sides, just going from hyper to, just incredibly fatigued. So it is what it is. I have gotten some sleep though, about 3-4 hours. So I think that's good. But, after getting all that sleep, I wake up to just see the book world exploding once again. What a shame. And this time it's not about, someone demanding that authors write smaller words, which I've been seeing all of your comments, and it's been great to, engage once more. And hello to all of my new followers. If you're watching this video, it's been great. But let's get right into the whole chaos of this new drama, which is the Bookish Fire Festival. Now, I'm going to be referring to my laptop because it was a lot and I honestly could not keep up. So I have a variety of screenshots to really just read out what happened, and then we can speak about that, okay? We can give our thoughts on that. So this is how I came across the entire debacle. A user by the name of Smut Whisperer, they wrote a post saying, "Put a finger down if you went to a book retreat that ended so badly that you're trauma bonded to people for the rest of your life." And then she said, "My finger is effing down." Now, I won't even lie to you. I kind of went by the post because I remember that there was a book festival that really was so horribly planned and people were going off on it. On TikTok, I think 2 years ago, it was a book retreat that stemmed from a Facebook group, and I was just like, oh, maybe like she's just recounting that. Come to find out, no, this is a recent book festival. Okay, and then so she went on to recount the entire thing. Okay, so let's go through that. Now, the first follow-up thread is, she just outed herself for this, so I will keep you all updated. I think this is because the person who threw the book festival, they made post and basically, outed themselves as the one who threw the entire thing. And from that, I can confirm that the person who orchestrated this Bookish Fire Festival goes by the name The Celestial Meg on Threads. But I'm going to read Smutty Whisper. I'm going to read her full thread to what I've seen so that we can actually have the order of chaos for the event before we go and look at anything that Celestial Meg has to say. Let me start by saying the retreat was sold as an all-inclusive, relaxing, and very planned weekend. We each paid $900 on top of the flights. In this economy? Okay. When we arrived to the location, the host wasn't there. So she made people pay $900 and they had to fly in. So let's just say, I guess maybe $1,200 to $1,500. I don't know how much their flights were. And then they arrive and she's not there. I won't even lie. Me being me, with the amount of books I've read and, the films I've watched, the TV series I've watched, if I go to like a retreat in this like secluded area and then I go and the person who I'm expected to be meeting isn't there, immediate panic. Get me out of here. No. I'm not sure if it was a cabin in the woods or what, but immediately I'm thinking, there's a serial killer here and they have brought us all here to die. Or like there is some type of mysterious revenge plot going on that we were all involved in, and we've all come here to die. And to top it off, they've stolen our money. That is exactly what I would have thought. What the heck do you mean? You arrived and the host of the event wasn't there. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's continue. I'm so sorry, guys. I shouldn't be interrupting, but so much. When she arrived hours later, the first thing she did was scream in our faces that if we were conspiring against her, she would kick us out. Now, I won't lie to you. That was red flag too. The fact that they were even still there after arriving and the host wasn't there, I won't lie. Big ups to them because they're braver than I am. Like I said, I would have been out of there. I would have ran. I would have been gone. But, you arrive late and then, you're screaming and somehow you have this idea that we're going to be conspiring against you. And if we do that, we're going to be kicked out of the retreat. Oh yeah, this is going splendidly. Oh wow, okay. There was no food. One of the girls with a car went and got pizza so we could eat. Oh, God bless whoever this girl was. But the fact that you guys had cars, again, run away. The host continued to not provide food the next day, and we went to find our own. Let's recap, shall we? Because there's still a lot to go. This was sold to them as an all-inclusive retreat. Guys, all-inclusive. Now, I'm not going to presume all-inclusive, I'm not going to presume that we all know what all-inclusive is. All-inclusive means that everything is included, Usually, that means drinks, food, activities, obviously accommodation. At least they got the accommodation, I guess. And if there are any, places that we're going to visit, it usually includes the tickets for said event and the transfers to get to said event. Unless explicitly stated that, the tickets to the event or, transfer wasn't included. But from what I am seeing here, it was sold as all-inclusive, everything being included. And that's not what they're getting, okay? They're not even getting the barest. They got like the barest of minimum, which was the accommodation. But, the other barest of minimum would be food, like provide us with food, We're human. We need food to survive. Like, oh gosh, this is scary. She finally came back from shopping with 2 tiny bags of groceries with bread, meat, and peanut butter and jelly. She did not prepare any food. See, this is wild to me. Like, first and foremost, you don't have any food for us. Imagine the first night of an event, a retreat, and they don't have food. So they're just like, the day technically doesn't begin today, so you guys get nothing. And then the next day, you still didn't get any food, but then they go out for groceries. They bring like some food stuff, and then there's no preparation of the food stuff. Like you like, I've brought you guys some supplies, now figure it out. Guys, you know why this is like, I guess, so funny to me? My Women's Fellowship, we host a retreat every year. We've been having it for, I think, 6 years now, maybe more. Because I'm one of the leads, obviously I'm part of the planning. And one of my roles every year, I'm always tasked with the food. And one of the parts of the retreat, one of the things that we love is that, yes, food is provided, but we let it be known that we provide food stuff, as in like ingredients. And one of the best parts of the retreat weekend is that we cook together, because cooking is a bonding experience and it's so fun. Guys, I remember in one year we planned everything really strictly. So we're just like, okay, for breakfast, this is what we're going to have. For lunch, this is what we're going to have. For dinner, this is what we're going to have. And if we're having dessert that night, this is what we're going to have. We're just like, okay, these are the drinks. And so we planned it really strictly. And then at the end of every year, we send out a survey so that people can let us know. And it's anonymous, so, no one, can feel any type of way. And we collect the responses so that we can know, oh, what did you enjoy? What would you like to see next year? Where can we improve? And we take it seriously. And I remember that year, a few of the comments were just like, it would be good to have like, a bit more food, a bit more snacks, more flexibility. Because like I said, we were really kind of like, yeah, we know we're going to have, and we estimated every person is going to have this much of this much of that. Oh, guys, the next year, when I tell you, we had so much food that when we were checking out, we had bags. And I mean bags of groceries. And we're just like, okay, we literally bought this a couple of days ago because we do the grocery shopping. Literally, we get it delivered the day of. So, and the retreat is only like a weekend long. So we had bags of groceries that were only 2 days old. And we're just like, okay, everyone take some stuff home. This is your grocery shopping for the weekend. Everyone took loads of groceries home, and we still had bags left over. So then we resolved, okay, let's give this, maybe to a food bank, anything that could, be used for a food bank, like cans or anything like that. And we're just like, okay, so certain things obviously they can't take, like things that will expire very quickly. So we're just like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do with food? Luckily, there was a family, or I think a group of friends. They were checking in that day, and we're checking out. They're just like, how was it? We're just like, oh yeah, it was a great weekend. The cabins are lovely, because there's like these lovely cabins. We go to the same place every year. And we were just like, hey guys, would you like some groceries? And we're just like, oh, there's nothing wrong with them. We just over ordered, and so we have quite a lot of food. And they're just like, yeah, sure. So we had, that's how much food we had. The year that we didn't have like an overflow of food, we still had food where people ate, and you know what? They were good. But we took the feedback, and the next year, oh, there was too much food. And the funny thing is, I do it every time, because one thing that we learned is that it's like, at least one thing that I took from that is, it's better to have an overflow than to have a lack, because at least we can, at the end of every retreat, and it's been happening for about like 3-4 years now, after that year, we always end up with extra food, always. And so ladies are always taking food home, like, so that when that weekend comes, I always know I'm gonna come home with some like groceries. So if I didn't grocery shop, it's good for me. And it's the best thing ever. But I'm saying this just to say that with planning things like retreats, one of the priorities is food, because unless like a theme of the retreat is like we're going on a fast, then no, like food is a necessity. And like I said, the cooking and the eating is such a bonding experience. So that she didn't put thought into the food, that would have already, like, again, a red flag. That would have already told me the direction that the weekend was headed into. And I would have I'm telling you guys, like I said, I would have ran immediately from like her not being there. But if I stayed, the no food would have been my okay, this is my sign to leave. Also, I like food. I like food. So that would have been my sign to leave. I would have been like, you want me to starve? And I didn't plan to starve? Oh, let's go. I know that was like a very, very long like tangent, but I'm just saying, like, food is very, very important. And then when she brings like little bits like bread and meat stuff, and then she doesn't even cook for you, like, were they expecting to be cooked for? Because it seems like they were expecting that, because then here it says she did not prepare any food. So I'm guessing they expected some type of preparation, like preparation, like they were expecting to be given like a meal, not like cooked together. So very chaotic. Let's continue. Okay, let's go back to the actual story at hand. We wanted to leave at that point because she was having a mental breakdown and yelling about AI and people after her on top of all this. But someone was coming to do a bookbinding workshop. Okay. Again, concerning, okay? Because at the beginning, she was showing signs of paranoia, saying, if you guys are conspiring against me, you're going to get kicked out. So that was already like a little sign. But hearing that she was having a full mental breakdown and yelling about AI and people after her, this definitely seems like someone who, yeah, I don't know, like, was she, like, obviously she's having a mental breakdown, but I won't even lie. At this point, it's not even a case of like, oh, let's let's run away. But one thing I will say is, like, they said they wanted to leave at this point, but she was having a mental breakdown. It seems to me that they were just like, we can't necessarily leave her here because she's having a mental breakdown. I always like to give people benefit of the doubt. So I'm like, I'm looking at the good, and I feel like they stayed because they were just like, Yes, the book binding was happening, but also, oh, this person is having a mental breakdown. Let's just, let's just stay so that she doesn't think that people are out to kill her or something like that. So yeah, that happened. Next, we did the book binding and she left to go get maple syrup for this drink she wanted us to have. And we only felt like we could breathe when she was gone. I won't lie, guys. Again, you guys know that from the beginning, I would have already started assuming that there's a serial killer out to get me. Maple syrup for this drink she wanted us to have is just sounding like don't drink the Kool-Aid. Do you guys get the reference? When the cult leader made his cult drink Kool-Aid, but all the Kool-Aid was poisoned and they all died. This is sounding a bit like that. Obviously, I feel like I have like tendency to like be, to look out for things. That being said, guys, I actually have anxiety, so that's not weird. But again, because this entire weekend is my life in danger, 100%, this would be one of the moments where I'm going, she's 100% trying to kill us. Even if she brought that maple syrup back, I'm not drinking that drink. Okay. It goes on to say she was manic, on her phone the whole time, talking about people out to get her and making fake AI accounts to F with her. I won't lie. I feel like the girls were probably like legit. I don't know if they were all girls. I can't remember if she said it was all girls. But the attendees were probably, I won't even lie, it seems like they were fearing for their lives because when people are manic, you do not know what's going to happen. I feel like they stayed here out of fear. And at this point, I feel like these attendees should all be considered hostages. This is a hostage situation. I feel like all of these attendees felt like they could not leave. And so, I won't lie, this is a hostage situation to me. It's now 4 p.m. No food provided still. You know what? No, I'm so sorry. You're out to get me. My life is in danger. It doesn't matter. I'm starving. This is the makings of like a horror movie. They're starving you so that you do not have the energy to fight back. Guys, you can kind of see how my brain works. I read maybe a bit too many thrillers, but I can see it all play out. I'm seeing it all play out, guys. I don't like where this is going, Well, I didn't like where this is going when I first read it. The Airbnb was $2,000 for the weekend. I'm not really sure how they got the total for the Airbnb, not too sure. But they had it. She had a surplus of $3,800 for food and supplies, and she did not provide anything. And this was the line that really had me, and not like, oh, I'm smiling, but I'm like smiling so I don't cry. We each took turns having anxiety attacks in our bedroom. As someone who actually is diagnosed with anxiety, and anxiety attacks, guys, are like terrifying. They're actually like terrifying because it's just like, especially because I'm reading here, I'm just like, is this a hyperbolic statement? Like, are you exaggerating, or did you guys actually take turns having anxiety attacks in the bedroom? Because if that's the case, I can just imagine this, like, the scene happening, because I'm just imagining one of my own anxiety attacks, and I'm just like, nah, this is attempted murder. This is attempted, like, she was trying to take you guys out. I'm so sorry. No, at this point, in my head, I'm already going, if I survive this, I'm suing you, you're going to jail, you definitely tried to off me, because what the heck, you're starving. You guys seem like you're afraid. You guys seem like you're afraid to leave. You guys are having straight up anxiety attacks, and you're having to take turns. I don't like, honestly, holding back on an anxiety attack is painful in itself. So taking turns is a wild statement. Not on their part, but like just on the fact that they potentially had to. At this point, I'm so sorry. Everyone come together. We outnumber her. Hold her down. We have to escape, because absolutely not. But let's continue. We're almost at the end, guys. We're almost at the end. I know I've already told the commentary, but I still have things to say after this, okay? She made us figure out dinner plans. Oh, wow, this is insane. She wanted to order DoorDash, but they didn't deliver to the remote location we were at. I told you guys they were at a remote location. I'm telling you, siren bells are ringing in my head. I'm telling you, at this moment, I'm just like, no, we're not doing this anymore. Anyway, we showed her the restaurant we picked. She wanted us to pay for it, and we said, no, you have our money. Go get it. That's right. The heck do you mean we're paying for it? First and foremost, you made us plan where we're going to eat. And we found the restaurant, and we're going to have to go on our own, even though this is an all-inclusive. So if anything, once again, food should be provided. If we're going out to eat, transport to wherever we're going should be provided. Oh, at this point, the fear would have just given way to anger. I would have just been livid. I would have given her 2 smacks. I'm so sorry. The minute she said, you guys have to pay for it, I feel like the anger that would rise within me, it would just take over any fear that I'm feeling, any panic, any anxiety, and I would just knock her out for the audacity. Because what do you mean? So first and foremost, you took my money for a retreat that's giving horror movie, and you're just going to be audacious. Keep in mind, she's been doing abracadabra, just been popping in and out throughout the entire retreat. Nah, she would have gotten hit. Now, I don't support violence, but sometimes I would consider it self-defense in this situation. She would have gotten hit. While she was gone, we packed up our stuff. Yes, escape plan loading. Loaded cars that we thankfully had, and waited for her to get back because her dog was there, and we wanted the food because we were starving. I understand that they were just like, oh, we don't want to leave the dog. That's probably where they're thinking. I know they were starving, but in the face of danger, you can hold out. But I think they were just like, oh, the dog, and we can't take it because that'd be kidnapping. So I can see the thought process there. We calmly told her we were leaving because this is not what we signed up for. Yeah. She said, I understand. We left and had to find a hotel. Again, after I return home, I'm asking for a full refund, and I'm also asking for, compensation for the hotel that I had to pay for. Because the heck do you mean? I already paid for accommodation this weekend, and now I have to pay for more accommodation because you messed up or because you didn't plan. We're not doing this. And then she continues to say, we will all be requesting refunds, so better put on your big girl panties, babe. Because we're not playing games with this. We're not playing games with this at all. And then, so this is the thread that really put me on to like what happened. I know that more people are coming out with their own stories. Now, as I've read the thread, and I've given you guys story in the compilation and commentary, sorry. Before I continue, I genuinely want to say to everyone who attended, I honestly, I even had this in my mind. Oh, I definitely need to let them know this from the beginning. I am genuinely sorry. I am so sorry that you guys had to go through this. Like I said, reading your account, like that initial account, and obviously the other accounts of other people who went, everything that's going on in my mind, I'm just like, you guys were definitely terrified. And obviously there's the anger. You guys, told us about the fact that you guys were having anxiety attacks. I'm just like, this is absolutely insane. The fact that you guys have to go through this ordeal, I am so sorry. And obviously, I know like my words probably aren't doing anything, especially because I don't know any of you guys, and you guys may never see any of this video, but I just want to say it. Like, I'm so sorry for all of the attendees who went, because remember, the post that started this all was like the first post saying, put your hand up if you attended a festival that was so terrible that you trauma bonded to the other attendees, because this is giving like intense trauma. And imagine they now have to, I would also sue her for any like therapy fees that you guys are now going to have to incur, because if you're already in therapy, that's great, but any session that specifically covers that event, I would charge her for that session or those sessions, because she was the cause of it. I'm so sorry, because the emotional distress here is insane. I honestly cannot imagine how you guys are feeling right now, because the stress of going through that, and then the stress of recovering from such an ordeal, just stress on stress on stress on stress on stress. And I feel so bad. I feel so bad. I know at this channel I'm always yelling at people, but I'm so sorry. There, there's empathy, and because all of these attendees were genuinely victims. Now, I am so sorry, and I genuinely hope that they can at least get their money back, because we can't turn back time, so they can't take away the time that they spent there getting traumatized and attacked and yelled at and starved. Guys, we do know that starvation is a method of torture. Starvation, sleep deprivation, outside of, like, the more brutal methods of torture that people are accustomed to, where there's physical abuse and other forms of, like, bodily abuse. There are those quiet forms of torture that they use where it doesn't leave a mark on your skin, on your body, but it definitely leaves a lasting effect. And this is what it's giving. You guys were placed in a situation where your mental state was legit being attacked, because she kept accusing people of attacking her, and at one point she kind of threatened you, because saying that, oh, if you guys conspire against me, I'm going to kick you out. Keep in mind, you guys paid for the retreat. That's a threat. That's a threat. And the fact that as I'm reading this, all I'm sensing is that there was genuinely a fear to leave because of repercussions or what could happen from leaving. I'm so sorry. It seems like you guys were being held hostage, or you guys were under the impression that you couldn't leave. So again, hostage. And I'm not a lawyer. I don't study law. I don't know the law. But honestly, if you stretch, and I know, some people are really skilled at, jumping to conclusions, but I don't even think this is a jump. We can really consider this kidnapping. Because if you don't feel like you can leave a situation, that is considered kidnapping by law in most places. So this is giving, kidnapping of sorts. That aside, I want to look at some of the posts that I saw from the Celestial Meg, who threw this entire event, because like we saw before, Celestial Meg outed herself by responding to the original post, and I believe also responding to other people as well. So in response to Smut Whisperer, I see this thread that Celestial Meg starts, and she starts by saying, I actually had to pay for all your goodie bag stuff, which did also include things I already had made, but I made a lot of new stuff. The plan for lunch was already deli sandwiches, and that's what I got. Local artisan sourdough and deli meats. I did buy props for your photo shoots. I did also find some in my basement. Okay. I offered you leftovers because I know how big takeout portions could be. I offered to go grocery shopping multiple times, but people kept rushing me back through my friend. Again, this was sold to them as an all-inclusive retreat. I don't remember in the original post them saying anything about goodie bags and stuff like that. I think when she said I actually have to pay for your goodie bag stuff, I think she's referring to the fact that Smutty Whisperer mentioned that there was over $3,000 left after paying for the Airbnb. Now, see, when you do event planning, you set out a budget and you set out the needs and the base requirements, and then you add things on top. When we do our retreat, we know that what we promised the ladies in terms of like base requirement, like things that will definitely be provided: transport to and from the location, and we tell them where the pickup point will be and where the drop-off point will be. Obviously, accommodation for everybody, and food. We let them know, yeah, we will be doing grocery shopping and we'll all be cooking together. And then obviously we have we do have speakers and guest speakers come. And so when we're planning, we're just like, okay, accommodation, transport, and food, those are the top 3 necessities. And then we start to look at, okay, speakers, obviously, with fees paying for that. And if there's something left, in terms of like money, things like, oh, goodie bags and treats, activities that we can do. And if we don't have anything left, but obviously, we don't want to, just not have, activities at the retreat. What can be locally sourced? What can we do in-house? What can we learn? Like, or, just sourcing things from very, very affordable places, sourcing them and buying them in bulk so that, we can benefit from economies of scale. So as she's putting up this defense of, I had to pay for all of your goodie bag stuff, I'm just thinking that you threw an event that you stated as all inclusive. Your first priority should have been to ensure that these people had food to eat. And from the statements that I'm seeing, they didn't. And the fact that she said the plan for lunch was already deli meat. Can we talk about the first night when they didn't have anything to eat? Are you going to address that? Because I'm so sorry. And the plan for lunch was already deli meats. I'm so sorry. A day includes 3 standard meals. I know not everyone has 3 standard meals, but especially if I'm going to a retreat, I expect that they follow kind of just, the expectation of 3 standard meals, that being breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So what do you mean that the expectation was already deli sandwiches? Okay, so you got the deli sandwiches. What were they meant to have for breakfast? Sorry, especially when they did not have any dinner the night before. So we're just going to skip 2 meals, mind you. Keep in mind that they traveled to this remote location, and considering this event just happened, it is June. It is warm. Like, I'm so sorry. But I'm guessing it was probably held in somewhere warm. I don't know why, but I feel like most retreats in summer, they would aim for somewhere warm. I'm hoping that they had drinks at least. I haven't really seen anything in the post about drinks. But even if they just had drinks, so just drinks, no food, so no sustenance in heat, and then the morning comes and you again have no sustenance. So they were just meant to keep in mind, imagine they arrive at like 7 in the evening or 9 in the evening, and then if we just look at the clock, okay, I'm guessing like nine the latest is what I would expect, or some people might have gotten a later flight or something like that. Arrive there, let's say at 9, and then 9 in the morning comes, which means 12 hours have passed, right? 12 hours, and I haven't eaten dinner and I haven't eaten breakfast, and then lunch comes around, and then they, from what I remember, it was stated that the Celestial Meg arrived at 1 with the deli meats and stuff like that. So we're looking at okay, around 15 hours, no food. I haven't heard anything about snacks either, so I'm guessing that they didn't even have little things to bite on, little things to chew on, unless they brought their own snacks. So this argument or this defense that the Celestial Meg is putting up, I'm so sorry, what type of defense is this? It's not a defense. It's not going to hold up. This is pathetic. This is sad. This is absolutely horrendous. I don't know what she thought she was accomplishing by stating that. And then I did buy props for your photo shoots. Again, when planning a retreat, you get the necessities first, and all the other fun stuff we can focus on those with what's left. But you ensure that people have a place to stay, have food to eat, and if you promise them transport as well. And then you get to the fun things like, getting things for their photo shoots and stuff like that. I don't want to hear anything about you got props for their photo shoots and you paid for their goodie bags. I'm so sorry. Pay for that after you pay for my food. Don't play with me. Do not play in my face. Like, are you okay? And I offer you leftovers because I know how big takeout portions can get. Don't play with me. Again, don't play in my face. Do not play in my face. Because you know what? If I go to a retreat, I love, and like I said, years after, that year where, we were very, very strict, we always have leftovers. And I stand by the belief that it's better to have an overflow than to have a lack. We've been able to help the girls with the grocery shopping for the week, give, to food bank, give to the new people coming in the other cabins. Like, I'm so sorry. Don't play my face. Don't play my face. I'm so sorry. I offered to go grocery shopping multiple times. Why was there not a plan for food during the weekend? And when you initially go grocery shopping, why not just do the entire shopping for the weekend? Why didn't you do grocery shopping ahead of time? This doesn't seem like anything was planned out. I'm so sorry. No. But people kept rushing me back through my friend. Then clearly you didn't plan anything. You didn't plan for any of this to happen. I don't want to hear any of this. Like, these arguments are dead to me. I'm so sorry. They're so dead. It really just seems like she's pulling at straws. And I'm so sorry. The straws are broken. They're weak. They're trash. I don't want to see it. Next, Celestial Meg continues. I also bought all of that crafting stuff for you all. All of those bedazzle kits were fresh for you. Everything was for you. Oh, she about to make me lose my mind. Okay, it's okay. I knew you were fine in the company I left you in, but you didn't feel safe with your own friends. Sorry. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. She's playing in our faces right now. Well, not in our faces because she's responding to them. She's playing in their faces right now. I knew you would be fine in your own company. It has nothing to do with the fact that I'm fine in the company of the people I've attended with. It's great that I'm fine in their company. That's not the point. That's not the point. We came here for a retreat and we expected to be provided for. Don't play in our faces, babe. Don't play in our faces. Um, the fact that she's saying I bought all that crafting stuff for you. She used more like vulgar language, but I'm not doing that. And the fact that she says all the bedazzled kits were fresh. So is that why we starved? Is that why? Okay. And then it was also 1 p.m. when the book binding started, and I was back within 30 minutes because the maple syrup was only 15 minutes away. Remember when I told you she was doing abracadabra, just popping in and out like Houdini? Bra, bra, poof, poof, poof. Oh, and then she responds to herself, okay, I think it was closer to 2:30 when everything for bookbinding was set up, but lunch was there earlier than that. Girl, please. Oh, you're even realizing that you're even realizing that even you're lying to yourself. Don't. Oh gosh, dude, that pissed me off. I feel like the energy is coming back. It's coming back. Celestial Meg, babes. You'll be lucky if all they do is just like demand refunds for what happened. Because I won't lie to you, I would sue you. I would sue you. Me personally, I would sue you. And the thing is, would you sue her, in civil court or criminal court? Both. Both. Because I won't even lie. The way you're playing in our faces or in their faces, if I was them, I'm so sorry. You're a criminal. You deserve to be. You deserve to be in the jail. You deserve to be in the jail. So that you can have some time to think about what you've done. And it's unfortunate that the prison system is. Let's be honest. They say it's for rehabilitation, but we know it's not. The prison system is just modern day slavery, if we're being honest. But that's a discussion for another day. And this is a book channel, so let's not do that. But I said what I said, and I mean it. Now. This is what really got me. She said, they all left my retreat because they thought I was acting crazy and not traumatized. LOL, the whole effing story is my threads from the last 3 weeks. Someone has been pretending to be my dream man using AI, and I've sent all the screenshots multiple times to multiple people, including in my server, and none of them cared to listen to me. I've been telling all y'all to reach out personally, but you refuse to do that too. I feel like this is where I kind of like lost it when I saw this one, because I was just like, okay, so you're hosting a retreat, but you said, oh, you weren't acting crazy, you were acting traumatized. I mean, I won't lie. You could have been acting crazy from trauma. Like, two things can be true. And also, it's the fact that they're saying I was acting crazy, not traumatized. The way that these people are telling you what they experienced from their point of view, like, I was stood here, and from my point of view, you were acting insane, and you're just like, no, I wasn't acting insane, I was acting traumatized. I'm so sorry. That response is absolutely wild. Now, after I saw this, and I was just like, and I thought I had the screenshots, but apparently I don't. But after I saw this, I actually saw a post from Celestial Meg saying, and I was recently diagnosed with BPD. And so it could explain why, because they did say, she was acting manic, she was acting paranoid. And depending on what type of BPD you have, because there are different versions, you could have manic episodes. That's true. And so if that's the case, because again, I don't know her. I wasn't there. I only know her from the posts that I've seen, and so I'm not her doctor. I'm not even a therapist outside of her, so I can't diagnose. I can't confirm or reject or deny anything. So she said she was diagnosed with BPD. um, I do hope that you are getting the help that you require. So I hope, obviously, they've assigned you to therapy, or they give you any meds that is necessary, and that you actually get any help that is necessary. 100%. My issue here is the fact that suffering from a mental illness does not excuse you from accountability for any actions that you do, okay? As someone who also suffers from multiple, I'm just like, if I were to do something when I was in an extremely anxious state at any point in time, anything I do in that moment or in those moments, I have to take responsibility for that. I'm going to explain, oh, this is why this happened and da 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 da. But I will take responsibility for what I did, for anyone I might have hurt. 100%, I'm not going to use my mental health, or poor mental health or mental illness or anything as an excuse or as a shield for when I act out. I'm not going to do that. And I do not like when I see people do that. It reminds me of the whole Kate Corain drama when she was discovered to, be attacking her peers who were also releasing the books at the same time as her. And then when it was revealed that she was doing that, at first, obviously, she denied it. But when it came out that, girl, this was you. Kate came out with the apology letter, said, I've been away, I suffer from mental illness. And again, I'm happy once people get the help that they 100% need. I'm happy when I hear that, especially because there's been so much stigma around mental health. So when you hear that people, they accept any issues that they're dealing with, any illnesses that they're dealing with, and they strive to get the help that is necessary, I love that. But it does not excuse you from being held accountable for any mistakes that you made. Now, how you are held accountable, we can look into that, because especially if you are not in your right mind, if you literally have no memory of doing things that you did, because obviously there's a whole range of mental illness, and it affects, like, they all are different, they affect people in different ways. That's true. And I know with BPD, especially if you have a manic episode, it can be like that. Depending on the type of BPD and the type of manic episode. That's 100% true. But we still have to look at accountability. And one of the main things is actually like coming out and saying, oh, I recognize that this happened. I might have been in a manic state, but I recognize that what I did was wrong. I recognize that I hurt people, and I apologize. It doesn't seem like there was any apology here, does it? It seems like you took up the defense immediately, and then you stated, oh, by the way, I was recently diagnosed with BPD. Again, do what's best for you, but please take responsibility. And another thing, how recent was your diagnosis? Because this event, from what we're seeing online, seemed like it just happened. If you were diagnosed, now, again, I am not a therapist of any sort, So I'm not going to pretend like I understand the diagnosis, especially because it's not like she went into detail as to what her diagnosis is. She just kind of like stated it and stuff like that. If the event happened like in recent weeks, how recent was your diagnosis? Because I won't lie to you. If I had been told that oh, by the way, you have BPD, and then they tell you, the symptoms and what's likely to happen if you have a manic episode, and they just list out, things that you can do, because I know outside of therapy and meds, like they also give me techniques about when this is happening. This is what you can do. These are protocols and these are systems that you can have in place to, one, make those moments easier, or really kind of just help you to manage those moments. So I'm hoping that when you were diagnosed, that, as they were, setting out your health plan, that they told you these things. They told you what could happen in a manic episode. They told you what you were likely to do. They told you, like, dangers and all things like that. So if you were recently diagnosed, I won't lie to you. My question would be, why did you not have systems in place for this retreat, knowing what could possibly happen with your own mental health, genuinely? And I'm not even saying that from like a case of, just trying to come down on the celestial Meg. I'm even saying this from like concern for her. If you have BPD and you have manic episodes, and in those moments, who knows like where your head's at, you need systems in place. Even if it's like a case of putting it in the retreat. Hey, by the way, I may suffer from a manic episode this weekend. Okay. She said that she told them what was going on, and she reached out in her survey, and she told people, that they could, or she encouraged them to reach out, and that no one did. But in my head, I'm thinking, let's be honest, I'm all on the side of, let's care for each other, and the world will just go round, and it's amazing when you have community. But at the same time, they are under no obligation to do anything like that, especially because they're not your therapist. I'm not seeing any statements from anyone saying that they're your family. It doesn't even seem like, I don't think that any of them have really said they're close friends with you. I think, they're on a server or something like that. So, I don't know, in terms of like you inviting them to check on you because like you were scammed by someone pretending to be your perfect boyfriend. They genuinely, they have no reason outside of them, like, feeling like, oh, let's try something. Like, they have no reason to actually do that. They do not have to come and check on you. And considering you have taken money from them, you, however, have a responsibility to them to provide the service that you said you were going to provide, and to provide it to the standard to which you said it was going to be. So again, I really hope she is getting the help that she needs, 100%, especially, with the whole, someone is making accounts to harass her and pretend to be a boyfriend like that. I was just like, oh, okay, I'm not really sure what's going on here. Really, really, in terms of that, I'm really, really hoping that she gets the help that she needs. But I'm so sorry. I believe in taking responsibility for your actions. And so, that being said, yeah, I'm sorry for all that, you probably suffered as well. But to make people experience trauma because you're also experiencing trauma, yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm not supporting that. I'm not supporting that behavior. I think it's disgusting, genuinely. And again, I do not think suffering from mental illness absolves from responsibility and accountability. In certain circumstances, the how in terms of like how responsibility is taken and how people are held accountable, it may look different. It will definitely look different for everyone. But in this situation, it seems like you're very aware of what you were going through, but you didn't take precautions to kind of like guard the people who would be around you, or to put systems in place to ensure that you would be okay while you were doing this retreat. Didn't seem like you did any of that. And it seems like you're very aware of how your actions affected those around you, and it doesn't seem like you're feeling any remorse for that. And so I'm so sorry. In terms of responsibility and accountability, I believe that yes, you should be sued. You should be sued for every single coin, every single dollar that you took from those attendees. And from that, again, I'm not a lawyer, so from a legal standpoint, I don't know what else can be done. But minimum, I think you should have to return every every dollar, every cent that you took from them. And I don't want anyone to go and bully her and attack her. I know like the internet can get wild and people will start doing things like doxing, and I'm just like, oh guys, we're not doing that. I don't believe in that at all. I think after you're forced to give them back their money, because I really hope that does happen. I think if anything, you should really be forced to like take care of yourself, because if this really was the result of a manic episode, then you need to prioritize your health and making sure that you're doing okay, so that you don't go hurting people as you did, because the attendees of this retreat were hurt. And I think the Celestial Meg needs to take responsibility for the fact that she hurt those people, and make amends. How she is to make amends, I wasn't there. I wasn't the one hurt. I'm not going to speak to that. So even me saying that, I hope you're forced to give them every penny, like, that's not on me to say. But like the original poster said, they are going to be applying for refunds. I don't know what other actions they're going to take. But yeah, in terms of how the Celestial can make amends, that is up to them to decide. But I do believe that, yeah, she definitely should take steps to make amends and to genuinely like work on just being better and doing better. But yeah, guys, that was the Bookish Fire Festival, and that was those are my thoughts around the entire situation. Do let me know. One, if you attended. Again, like I said, I'm really, really sorry. I'm genuinely sorry that you have to go through that, and I'm hoping that you're getting like the help in terms of like the recovery from the trauma. I'm hoping you're getting that. So I'm hoping the best for all those who attended, and for us who didn't attend and who were just online and were seeing all the drama unfold. Let me know your thoughts on the matter. Let me know what you really think, because this, yeah, it's one thing to kind of see a post of someone saying, oh, authors should use smaller words in books, because that's an opinion and we can all kind of like speak out on that. But the fact that there was a retreat that people went to and that they were like hurt, I'm just like, oh yeah, we can come out here and we can speak, but something needs to be done. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. It's been really good to get back to just like engaging with people again. It feels really good. And it's great to like hear your thoughts, and it's great to kind of see like, new subscribers and stuff like that. So I'm really happy that you guys have joined this channel, and I hope that we can continue to have fun. I hope that we can continue having like honest conversations like this, but I also hope that we won't need to have honest conversations about situations like this, because that means that someone would have to be hurt for us to have this. And I don't need someone to be hurt just so that I can have something to speak on. And I'd rather we can speak on like, tropes in books that we hate and words that we, can't stand that always get used in books. We can talk about that. That would be good to talk about. But yeah, guys, that's it for today. I will see you guys next time.